Hail, welcome to another episode of A Celtic World North America. We are part of the Celtic World YouTube channel, and so Chris and I kind of each week try to bring a little bit of a North American perspective to the Celtic supports. So this week we're going to have our probably furthest distance away guest in the North America, so we're excited about this. Another one we've been talking about doing for a while. So, it's almost done with the international break, and usually I'm bitching about it, but even international football curmudgeon like me couldn't help get sucked into the madness of Ireland and Scotland and their last qualifiers. I mean, both incredible games, and Scotland's almost topped Ireland, which was amazing. So I'm sure we'll be discussing them a little more later. But first things first, let's introduce our panel tonight. As always, we got Chris with me. Chris, how you doing?
Doing all right.
Good to have you back. And then first time for both the other guys, we're going to have John Neeson from all the way in Hawaii. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
It's good to have you on. And then we got Dave from Columbus. We've had a couple other guys from Columbus, Bobby and Jason on a couple times.
So. Big shoes to fill with those. So, appreciate you having me on, guys.
Yeah, so we needed somebody who had a little bit of MLS and Columbus Crew knowledge, since I know I have none, and I don't think Chris has any either. So
the inside skinny, if you will.
Yeah, so we can talk.
Got him on the phone, hotline.
So welcome, David. It's good to have you on too. So I guess first thing, because I think a lot of the things we try to do on this show is to kind of tell the stories of supporting Celtic in America. I'm like barely going to say North America anymore because we haven't had any Canadian representation on here. But so like I said, John is our furthest distance away guest by some distance, probably. We had Danny on last week from Fresno, California. So
nice.
I guess first things first, John, how did you become a Celtic supporter?
My story's probably not much different than most of the guys in your club or women that have a Scottish or Irish accent. Both my parents are from Scotland, a little town called Dumbarton. They got married on a Monday, were on a boat on Saturday to Canada. 10 months later, me. And both of them, my mom used to joke she went to more games than my dad for Celtic because my dad played what's known as junior football. And in those days, everything was 3 p.m. on a Saturday. So he'd be playing, she would go to games. So from the time I could walk, when I was 7, I was born in Toronto. When I was 7, we moved to California. When I was 14, we moved here. That's 43 years ago now. And yeah, it's been a lot easier with the advent of the internet to follow Celtic than it was for many years.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Oh, I've noticed a difference in that and the advent of streaming and all that stuff. It almost makes it too easy because then it kind of kills the clubs a little bit because you just don't get those.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So when you started, I guess, was there anybody else, any other Celtic supporters that you? I mean, I'm sure your dad probably brought you into it, but
yeah, in Hawaii, and we had a club from 2001 till 3 years ago now, when our pub closed. It was never bigger than 3 people that were regulars, and we largely existed for visitors. We watched the game on delay, and in those days, early on when I was working, it'd be 7 o'clock at night on a weekday, 6:30 on a weekend, and we're 10 or 11 hours behind Scotland, depending on the time of year, because we don't change the clock. So, and again, in those days, it was easy to avoid the score. You didn't have the social media that you have now, the news coverage, and so you just didn't look at email, maybe Facebook, till after the game was done, and you could watch it without knowing what was happening or a result and enjoy it. So it was great. We had some great times. We had a game where there's 20 Irish kids that were here on some kind of exchange as hotel management trainees came in. A fantastic night. But as the years went on, it was very often just me and my dad for weeks at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And the Martin Burglars and my dad attended St. Patrick's in Dumbarton. I see somebody comment in the bottom. And, when Legends closed and my dad's health had deteriorated then, and he's now in a care home, it just became me the last season, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, I just didn't have a lot of incentive to try and find a new venue to go and sit by myself when I can watch it,
Right.
in my living room.
Sure.
But I do get to travel a decent amount. I was in Orlando in September and try to build my flights around not, flying at game time so that I can attend matches wherever I happen to be.
Yeah, that's like your travel. We've gotten to meet you. We met you in Philly a couple times.
Yep.
I've seen you there a few times, and then in Pittsburgh, you were in Pittsburgh this time around.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
You get to
That
travel.
was a great few days too. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. We all had a blast with that. Dave was there with us that weekend too, right?
Yes, it was. It was a
We
good
killed
time. Bums me out. I didn't meet you then. We would have had.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with Seamus and Sean, other Sean from Philly. The guys, and I've known Seamus for 25 years. Back when we used to have the chat groups, before we had any social media. We had Tim Talk once upon a time.
I kind of remember that. I'm at least hearing about it. Like, I don't think I was, because I'm only like about 20 years supporting Celtic, and die hard probably only 13 years. So it is funny.
Imagine saying that only 20 years. Yeah. It's a long time, man.
It is, but when I just turned 50 this year, so I kind of, and I always say that I wish I would have discovered Celtic sooner, which is unfortunate. But
the question you asked, and there's a question I asked a lot of people when they came to Hawaii, is not why do you support Celtic? Like, tell me the story how you came, especially when it's somebody with an accent or a face that you weren't expecting. And how did you find Celtic? There's lots of great stories out there.
Oh yeah, that's what we asked. That's the first thing we asked pretty much everybody who's on the first time, and it's everybody's got different, some similar to others, but and then some are great. Like last week we had Danny on from Fresno, and the story of their CSC I still think is awesome. Like how it was like a Scottish guy in Fresno watching Celtic in his garage and inviting people to come in and watch it. 4 o'clock. I mean, sometimes I guess 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it was Bill Charters, I think was his name.
Yeah. I was looking up a little bit about him last week. So, and then he sent me a shirt and some stickers too. So I'll be repping those guys. And he's a Philly guy too. Like he was, he lived in Philly for a while. So and New York. So I've met him in both places. I guess then let's since we're talking about Celtic origin stories, Dave, how did you get into Celtic?
Oh, so I'm originally from Toledo, Ohio. It's funny, I am not of any Scottish origin whatsoever. My dad was Protestant, my mom was Catholic, so that meant I was confused. Went to like a K through 8, a Protestant school, and then a all guys Jesuit high school. Went to Ohio State, all that kind of stuff. Came back to Toledo and then moved to Columbus in 2004. Took a job with Nationwide, which is based here in Columbus, and was just randomly, it's cubicle land, and was walking around, and one of my teammates, I just happened to, breeze by his cubicle and saw that he had a soccer ball, a football, and it was a Celtic football. And I just struck up a conversation with him. His name was Todd. I said, that's really awesome. That's a Celtic football. And he's just like, wait, you didn't say soccer ball? You didn't say Celtic? So he's like, well, what do you know about him? And just, some cursory information that I knew about. And then he also had like a Chelsea, beer glass or what. I was like, dude, this doesn't go together. What's up with this? It's like, well, he's like, I follow both teams. He's like, but I'm really a Celtic supporter. He's like, do you watch soccer or football? I was like, oh yeah, I had, went to see the Columbus Crew when I was in college and went to a lot of games. But he's like, well, do you watch any soccer now? I said, oh, whatever highlights. He's like, well, he's like, we got a supporters club here, and we meet every week or whenever their match is. And he's like, if you really are interested in going, let me know. And I thought to myself, I was like, that seems pretty fun. Was trying to get to know some more people, at work and outside of work. So he happened to invite me. He said, we lived in the same area, and he said, I'll pick you up. And it'll be an early morning match. And he's like, it's actually against our rivals. So this was 2005. Early, it was an August game, and got to the pub, Fidel Irish pub, where we watch matches at, and sort of got shown around like the new guy or whatever, and met some of the folks there, and the match started, and drinking some pints, and it was a match that Alan Thompson got a straight red like within like the first 20 minutes. I mean, like total like horrible, ghastly, like, scissor tackle on Nacho Novu, who I loathe. And, he was gone. They sent him off. And I think they scored 3 goals, and maybe we had a consolation goal at the end. I think it was a penalty for maybe Maloney. So it ends up being 3-1. And, I probably had 4 or 5 pints that day and was having a good time in spite of what was going on, trying to be respectful. I don't really know the drill or anything, and, there's a pretty solid crowd there back in the day when it used to be on Satanta, and we'd have to pay for matches and things like that. So, it's at the end, and everybody, goes to order another pint. And there's a famous gentleman that's in our club, Bobby Burgess, who many of you guys know, whether it's on Twitter and all that stuff, or you've met him before. And he's from Jersey, and he's obviously not super thrilled. And in his Jersey, I said, well, it's like, obviously it wasn't the match that we wanted, so there's some shit. He's like, but everybody can come back here next week and we'll fix it, except for this mother effer, and points right at me. And I was just like taken aback. And he puts his arms around me. He's like, I'm just fucking kidding you. He's like, he kissed me. And that was it, man. I was like hardcore, like into it immediately. I went and got the 2, like the home and away, the first like Nike kits. And it was off to the races for me. I got really into it in probably 2007, 2008 for sure. I had Ohio State season football tickets, so that took up some weekend stuff in the fall. But I mean, I was always at matches. I traveled for work along the East Coast and Mid-Atlantic, so I would go to clubs. I mean, I got showered with beers when Naka posted stamped Van der Sar in whatever DC pub was there. Just some good times, and I've been able to introduce a lot of my friends that really weren't interested in football to Celtic. And it's just been, I think we all know Celtic is not just the football, but it's the people.
Yeah,
so,
100%.
So it's been 20 years for me, which is, it doesn't seem like it's very long, but I mean, I know that it is.
Oh, totally. And you're right. Like just that it is all about the people, and we mention every week, we've done like 20 or so episodes now, and it comes up every week. And like how me and Chris met you, I think it kind of epitomizes it. Like,
absolutely.
Like we were meeting up in Boston with Jason was coming, and we had never met you before. You were going to tag along with Jason, and then Jason, I think, got COVID.
Yeah, he got COVID, and then it was like, hey guys,
you came, and it was like the 3 of us, and it was still like we had known each other.
Oh my
God! So, and we hung out all weekend.
Yeah, it was,
and your buddy John. And it was a blast. And like,
and then went to go.
It's always easy. Like,
and then went to the Banshee and kicked in with the Boston Crew, which they're amazing boys there too, man. Like one of my favorite places, man, for sure.
So that's always one of those like stories I'll tell about like just being a Celtic supporter, and and we say it every week. Like we're all very similar. We have very similar ethos and interests, and it's just easy to get along with, 99% of us. So like to be able to just, spend a week, we hung out the entire weekend in Boston, and it was it was not a big deal at all. And I know I'd come home and I'd like explain it to my wife, and she's like, that just sounds insane.
That's how horrible you start, something crazy like that.
And I'm like, no, It's just the way we are. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just think it sounds insane when you tell people that don't know anything about it. Like, it doesn't sound insane anymore to me, because I'm like, oh yeah, we were in Boston and we were in Philly, and you could just rattle off all the places and all the people, but like, I don't know, man. You just do it on a whim, and you've never met those people before, and a lot of people would be like, you're crazy.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Well, Jason's in the comments, still pissed about missing it. So
We'll make up for it, Jay. I promise.
And I love your story about Bobby doing the.
I mean,
And-
it was just, and
I can
everybody who
picture it
knows
totally.
him, that is how he rolls. I mean, it was just off the cuff, and like, except for this fucking guy and place, I was just like, oh, geez, what now, man? Like, I'm never gonna be able to come back here again. Yeah, absolute legend.
Yeah. Boys a toast. All right, that's all. And he's always got a
What's
good
a
one.
story? Just because Dave mentioned Banshee, I worked for Liberty Mutual for close to 20 years, and I just had to travel to Boston about 3 times a year. So I knew the boys a little bit. And, if I'm there for work, I can't get out for a European game. So they would make sure it got recorded. And Billy Ramsey and a couple other guys would often come back and watch it a second time. So I'm not sitting there by myself. And one particular night, as soon as the game ended, it's now probably close to 8 o'clock, by the time I get down there after work. And a DJ was coming on. And so there's been me, half a dozen of the boys from their club, me. And the DJ, the first song he put on was simply the best. And you would never have known Billy Ramsey could move like that. He was like those old Hertz commercials with OJ.
Hurling things.
Yeah, and that song didn't get past the first few notes.
And I love the story about your buddy John. When he first went there, and the guy, whoever it was, I don't know who it was. Maybe
It was Billy. It was Billy, because
he called him Huey.
Yeah, John was moving to Boston, and I had covered Boston for a long time back in my nationwide days. So I would go into the Banshee and met some of the folks, and in passing, and sort of remembered them a little bit, and brought him in, and he was wearing a Huey Lewis. John was wearing a Huey Lewis in the News shirt, and introduced, as we're coming in, and he's like, "What's the fucking Huey over here?" And so that's what when John ended up moving there, it's like, "You're not John, your name is fucking Huey." And so John ended up getting like a hoops top with Huey on the back. I mean, so it's, pure class. And that's, we all have these stories, and that's what continues to make this Celtic world spin on. It's those great stories, and the boys and girls that like we get to meet and build those relationships and friendships, no matter where we are in the world.
Oh, 100%.
Amen.
I'm gonna throw up a couple pictures from John for you. Had some good your
Those are old T-shirts.
Yeah. I still see that from time to time. Like,
Well, that was the last one, so that might maybe one that's still wearable for folks.
And then the license plate is a beauty.
Hell yeah.
But
Because some other bastard already had it with an E.
and then I gotta find the one comment. I don't know if you know anything about this from Timothy. Is this a true thing?
Well, one, I wasn't there, and that would
Probably
shock the hell
not.
to me because I don't know that we've ever had a Hawaii CSC flag. I will tell you a little story about Seville, though. We had a guy out here in about March of that year. Scottish guy, lived in Dublin, had an Irish wife. And he had said at the time, if Celtic make the final, he's going. Now, this is March, right? And the final's going to be late May. And kind of laughed. I said, yeah, good luck. And his wife said, there's no fucking chance you're going. And he said, no, I'm going. I promise you, I'm going. And he still had season tickets. He would go to Glasgow every weekend to watch, well, every other weekend. And I said, all right, if you make it, send us one of those half and half scarves. And 3-4 weeks after the final, I go into Legends, have a pint. Owner says, hey, you getting mail delivered here? I said, what do you mean? It's just manila envelope. Open it up and fucking half and half scarf. Celtic and Porto.
Man.
Yeah, dude had gone and sent it.
That's awesome.
Man of his word.
Yeah. And that was up in their pub for many, many years.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I know you. Actually, your surfboard badge that you gave me one year at the Fairleigh, and I lost it. And then I got it. You gave it to me again this next year. That was a very small little badge.
Yeah,
so
easy
lost
to
in the
lose.
pocket.
Easy to lose.
But I was mad when I lost that because I still have the other ones. It's pinned up on my wall in the bar down here. So it's one of my definite favorite badges that I have. So I don't know. Do you guys want to let's move on to a little more current Celtic news in terms of the manager search. I know right now I think they kind of, at least the board, announced that Martin O'Neill and Maloney would at least stay in charge for the weekend's matchup coming, and I don't know how much beyond that, but I guess the candidate that seemingly is the favorite to get the job now is actually from MLS Columbus Crew, which would be Dave's hometown team. French guy Wilfried Nancy. I don't know a whole lot about him because I don't pay any attention to all the MLS other than some of the shit I've just read over the last couple of weeks. And it seems like, again, as always, Celtic board kind of dragging their feet a little bit in getting, a contract or getting ink on paper to get him in the door. But I guess in terms of social media, it's kind of been mixed reviews, and a lot of it is just, I think people don't know anything about him, so they just assume, he's probably not up for the Celtic job. But Dave, what do you think? Your thoughts on the guy, I guess, as a manager, and then I guess how do you think he'll fit in at Celtic?
So this was definitely not the name I was expecting. This was so far off my radar, and some of my buddies, crew supporters, would start, having that sort of, would drop a hint about it. I was like, there's no way this isn't happening. They're going to concentrate on somebody who has some experience in Europe. Knudsen from Bodo had always been linked with us. McKenna from Ipswich, that was always, and then, started hearing about Craig Bellamy, which that to me, like, okay. And Robbie Keane, who, I always loved both Keanos. I really enjoyed him, but, he's in Hungary, I think, managing right now. So, when this got a lot more, heat and the smoke, turned into fire, just based on how he plays, I think that, attacking football with some possession, the wingers are pretty active. I personally getting to watch the club, and he ran into some issues with the crew, especially this season, much like, the typical Celtic stuff of the board dragging their feet, not ponying up money. All these moves are so late. They're more reactive than proactive. The crew got rid of their best striker, who basically helped them win the MLS Cup, Tucho Hernandez, and they did very little to make any moves. And it was basically the next part of the window that we got someone. And, so I think that he's used to things like that. I think it will work. I just don't. And look, we all know, doesn't matter which side of this we're talking about. Like a football club in Glasgow, you need to hit the ground running, and like it doesn't matter. The supporters either way are gonna be. You're gonna have some that are gonna be over the moon. You're gonna have some that are gonna think it's total shite. So, I think that he will do fairly well. But I just look at it as nobody really knew who Ange Postecoglou was.
Yeah,
that comes up a lot. Most folks, that's where he was at Yokohama Marinos. Hey, who was there? Nakamura played there back ages and ages ago. Most people aren't really hip to Japanese football. So I'm optimistic about it, but I can understand the hesitation of supporters. I really can. Yeah. But at this point in time, they're going to go ahead, and I think we know that they're going to I've heard all the numbers, whether they're true or not, about how much it would cost to get Knudsen to come and then wait on him as well. I just think they want to get somebody that's going to be as cost effective as possible, that actually, could have some chops and has been able to do something. And he's also going to be looking at markets, for players that Celtic really hasn't ever really done a lot with, or, the States, you can boohoo that all you want, but there are some folks around, that could come in and, play well. Obviously, South America, Latin America, there's some things there. But, I mean, I honestly think no matter who's there, the scouting is going to be really key, and the players that they bring in. So, and I see Jimmy from Cleveland saying it's an odd time to bring in. I totally get it. What happens to O'Neill and Maloney if they stick throughout the season? No,
I know. It's a very odd time, and but it's like with the transfer window is kind of right around the window. Like, I feel like you need to have the new guy in the door before that happens, and I don't know. So I think they're just dragging their feet even in that way. I just put this one comment up from Timothy, and maybe that goes back to what you were saying, Dave, about him having issues in Columbus with
Nancy had butted some heads with Joey Saputo, I believe, in Montreal when he was there, the owner, and I think that the players in Montreal backed him, and then he left. So I mean, I know our friends up across the border probably weren't real stoked about hearing about him, but I mean, I don't think that with the history of the board, I mean, I think there's going to be some of that concern no matter who it is.
No, agreed. And I think a lot of you would take into the account of being the Celtic manager, and you could say, from John's comment here, can't drop any points, and that's kind of just the MO of any Celtic manager, and you have to learn to accept that, I guess, if you're a manager coming in, and I guess if you're coming from outside of Scotland, or where maybe you're not as aware of Celtic, that you're expected to win every match, and that's a tough environment to come into, and especially now you're coming into, you're 4 points behind Hearts right now, and you really can't drop any more points if you want to catch up to them and win the league. So it's the board, I think, has put themselves in a tough and weird position, to have to make this move, I guess, at this time of the season.
I just think it's a perpetual situation with them that this is just the record that continues to spin each season, where they don't want to spend any money. They let things drag on, and everything is more reactive as opposed to proactive. So if Knudsen or McKenna, or I think other folks need to realize we're not going to get Pep Guardiola coming in. He's not coming. Managers of that sort of, I guess, pedigree, if you say. We love all those things, and that'd be great and all, but I think there's a reality component with this where if we're not spending money on players, we're not going to go and spend a whole ton of money, just back the truck up for £8 million a season for a manager off the cuff.
Yeah.
So, we all know we have to hit the ground running. There's no doubt about it.
Chris, it's how do you? And we've talked about it for weeks now, I guess. I think we talked about the time frame. When do you actually make the decision? And now we feel like we kind of have at least somebody, a candidate who seems to be But do you think it drags on for a while? And do you think maybe through the rest of the season with Martin O'Neill?
With the AGM on Friday this week. I think the intention was to get somebody in before the AGM, roll the new manager out, and put them in front of everybody in the board and say, hey, this is our guy, da 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 da. But I think what's happened is that there's not enough transparency, which is, it seems to be a running theme around the world at the moment, is that there's just not enough transparency of what actually is going on. Celtic came out and made the statement that Martin O'Neill was still going to be in charge. And it's like, okay, great. Why did you need to make a statement about that? Like, there's zero reasons to come out and make a statement like that if you've already got an interim manager in place and has already led the team out several times. And we'll be doing it again on, this coming Monday. I think it was just to prepare people. But the thing of it is that it just seems counterproductive from the board to try to lay those things out. And they come out with a statement that says, well, nothing's really changed. Well, I think that they had planned on getting somebody in the door, and, there was reporting that it was supposed to be done, the first part of December, early December, late November, sometime around the AGM, that they would be able to get somebody in place. Okay, well, now that hasn't happened, I do think that we are up against the wall as far as who can you get in there, because y'all are exactly right. You can't get a Jurgen Klopp to come in in December the 4th to start leading Celtic Football Club, to make its run against Hearts, right? Like, that's not going to happen. There's just so many confusing things that are going on that I think as Celtic supporters, it's just frustrating, because I don't know what I really want to have happen. I've read a lot of things about Wilfried Nancy that I'm like, okay, cool. He's got good ideas, da 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 da. But man, we don't have the luxury of like second guessing this. Like, if we get this wrong, like, this guy will be out, 100 days from now. So I think that there was a little bit of, okay, let's get somebody in the door, and now they're like, hey, hold on just a minute. We need to think about this a little bit more strategically, this is going to be the rest of this season. So yeah. I just think you got to throw your hands up and go, man, I don't know what's going on, but I want something to change, and I want to see positive things happen around my club. We're going to start with not banning supporters, but that's another subject altogether.
Agreed. We almost feel like the Celtic board is probably outside of, they're Scottish and like to see the Scottish national team make the World Cup, but it's almost a distraction. Like, who's talking about Celtic right now? And like, everybody's talking about Scotland, and so they're probably like breathing a sigh of relief, like, nobody's on our shit about getting a manager in. You haven't really seen anything about it in a few days, like since the Ireland game over the weekend, and then I guess yesterday with the Scotland making it to the World Cup. How about this option?
Well, I hope not. I hope not.
No, that's not happening.
I love the guy, but we know.
Yeah. Here's a good comment for our. I haven't seen this name come up in the comments before, but it's true. Like, we got, John's however far behind. What time is it by you right now, John?
3:30.
3:30, yeah. So.
Yeah. In the afternoon for clarity.
But it's true. San Antonio is definitely right. I guess, John, how do you see the next or time frame in hiring a manager? And would you be content with Wilfried Nancy?
I'll say, and for no particular reason other than I'd like to see some definite movement, is I'd rather see Nancy get hired than kind of drag on and on with O'Neill. I think in the history of sports, it's rare that a return home ends up working out well. I would like to see him in by the end of this month, so he's got time to look at the squad, see who fits what he wants to do, and hopefully the board surprises us all and makes the moves in January, because I fear if they don't, we're going to end up next summer needing somebody at nearly every position. And this has been going through my head of late, right? I don't see Schmeichel sticking around with Rogers gone. There's now 2 managers that looked at Sinisalo, if I'm pronouncing it right, and not played him, really. So is he the starter in waiting? Do we need to get someone there? Right? Johnson has become injury prone. And he's going to be playing at least 3 high-impact games, maybe more, with Canada. Because, I think FIFA's as corrupt as anything, and they're going to have the hot balls, and the host country's going to have weak groups. So I don't know that you can rely on him. And then Ralston, or the young lad, I don't know. I think Cameron Vickers has become completely injury prone, and he's already kind of indicated he wants to go. Scales, oh, God bless him, but I cringe every time I see him starting to pass the ball. KT, I'm hoping whatever it is that's been going on, it can either be, training or surgically repaired, because he's just not looked like he used to be, right? And he's far too young. And the other guy's on loan, so that's just the back four and the keeper. We're talking, possibly having to replace each and every one of them. And I won't, bore you to tears with the whole 11, but
no, you're definitely right.
That's what concerns me. Yeah, I know it's going to be harder, but my point is, if we're placing even more folks than we need to, and I think you got to be realistic about anybody that's going to play serious minutes in the summer, that they're going to miss time next season. The injury, and I don't know what our physios are doing as far as hamstrings, but God help us.
Yeah, it's not going well with those right now.
So, I mean, I'll keep it to maybe the last 25 years. When it's been somebody coming in that I knew who it was, okay, Martin O'Neill, Brendan Rodgers, Tony Mowbray, some worked, some didn't, all right? Those guys you didn't know, Joe Vangloss, help me out here, Ronnie Dela, some worked, some didn't. So, opinion of all of us means crap. Doesn't mean a damn thing if the guy's gonna be successful or not.
True.
But let's, make a positive decision, get behind him, and then if it all goes to shit in 100 days, I think was mentioned earlier, we probably are moving on again. But I think what happened this summer was such a dereliction of duty by management, and not football management, I say. To let Rodgers walk into a season as a lame duck, to me, was unforgivable. And if they had offered him a contract and he'd refused to discuss, move on then. So you didn't end up with what we ended up with, is a guy that was willing to take pot shots, was not willing to play people, and I think affected the morale of the team. They didn't spend money that they had to ensure getting to the Champions League, and you're not going to have that easy a route for 3-4 years to come at best. And the money you got purely from qualifying for that would have more than covered overpaying a couple of £1 million on a couple of guys, 3 guys. Get there. So I mean, those things to me is where I think you could argue on the macro, and it's again 6 to 25 years, that Celtic have been incredibly well run with several transfer windows that were fucking god awful. So I'm sorry, we're allowed to swear on this?
Yeah.
Sean, my bad. And I mean, that's what to me is unforgivable. But I think also, some of the way it's been approached has not been great. I think if you gotten Dermot's attention, that's what we need is shareholders going, well, hold on a minute here. You guys are not meeting the basic standards of what we need. It's great that we've got a nice reserve, and you should be running a business at a profit, but not to the point where you're just, like a dragon sitting on a pile of gold, It's so frustrating.
It is frustrating, 100%.
It just seems like the board, there's just so much arrogance that it's just a given that this money is going, and that's, I think, what's really been like frying my head is just because we, we're in the Champions League, and then we had to, do some qualification. It's just, they just automatically assumed it. You could put anybody in, in hoops out there, and we were going to go through and we were going to get that.
Well, and that was the other one that I think from a shareholder perspective, if the model is buying guys and under, reviewed markets at a cheap price and then developing them and selling them, you should have sold Maeda this summer. Regardless of what else went on, he was never going to get a better price than he would have got this summer, and he wanted to go. That to me was also a complete failure, that you didn't do that and then turn around and use that money to try and get a couple of guys you thought could replace him. And so, I mean, when you accumulate those things, there needs to be some change. And then, the statement when they first did reply, David, the arrogance in that was shocking and unforgivable. Mm-hmm. I do kind of take a pragmatic approach to this. I always joke about falling in love with a football team's a bit like falling in love with a stripper. You're going to tell her you love her, but she just sees dollar signs when she looks at you. And, and in the end, and we're all passionate about it, and I love the stories of how you guys found Celtic, but they're not going to love us back the way we love them,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'll throw this comment up because
that's on the main stage.
John, you mentioned Ronnie Dial before.
I
do get this.
Yeah,
a lot,
I remember that conversation before.
I haven't heard it in a while because I guess Ronnie's not as much on the forefront.
Well, he just got sacked again not that long ago, right?
Oh, I get it so often, and
was he was he at Atlanta in MLS?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he gets dumped after a few years everywhere. So
so one of the things and because of the lack of communication from the board, that you can't help but, well, at least be me thinking, either one, have they given a ridiculously low offer on the release clause, which is supposedly $2 million, or have they not realized that you need some sort of work permit since Brexit? You're not in the EU anymore. These are things I'd start wondering, because it seems like he's the guy, right?
It does, yeah. Well, I mean, I think one thing, and that's another common topic every week, is I feel like we just need an overhaul from top to bottom. I mean, from the board and structure of how we do things, everything, and you just see it. It's the same every time. It's dragging the feet and not getting deals done, and then now this whatever, and you don't know what's true and what's not true. I mean, we're going off what we see in social media and some kind of news stories, but again, it's like this Nazi story has been going on for probably close to 2 weeks, almost a week and a half, 2 weeks. Where are we on that? And it goes to the transparency thing. Like Chris said, what are we doing? Announcing that Martin O'Neill's going to be staying on for a little while longer. Like, what is that? And you're right. Why is that necessary? We just need. And I think when we had James, Juco James on from Huddle Breakdown, that's his main thing. Like, outside of whoever the manager is going to be, like, we need the structure of decision making at the club completely overhauled. And I don't know. I don't see where that happens and how that happens, because the guys who are making those decisions right now are the ones who like, is Dermot Desmond going to say we need to modernize the way we make our decisions? And I just don't see it happening, which is so fucking frustrating.
But I mean, like, what is Dermot doing right now? Right? He's the one that basically fired Brendan Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
And so he's making the next decision. So does that mean that he's the one that's in charge of the club at the moment? I mean, like, that's the questions that'll be asked at the AGM. I think is that, like, who's making the decisions here, because it's not. It's not the PLC, I don't think. I think it's Dermot Desmond. And just like Dr. J said, a couple weeks ago, if Dermot Desmond wants something, he's going to make that happen, no matter what it is. And I think, yeah, we do need to structure the whole thing. I think everything's going to start coming out though this coming week at the AGM. I think hopefully we might start getting some answers, but all we can do is hope.
Yeah, they have to come out of their bunkers that they're in right now. So, well, let me take a quick break and play our little subscribe clip. I got a couple of options this week.
Perfect.
Hey mate, you are watching the least boring Celtic YouTube chat show in the world. And it is totally free. Jeez, that's got to be worth a subscribe, eh?
Yeah, see, Gav hasn't even been around to make us a new subscribe clip. But seriously, so give us a like and subscribe. So, it helps the channel out and helps you find us weekly when we do our shows on mostly Wednesday nights, but sometimes we'll do on Thursdays after, especially with Celtic and Europa League, we'll do a little post-Europa wrap-up, which is usually ends up being a post-Europa bitch fest about.
I was gonna say, I'm sure the post-Michelin one was a joy.
Yeah, they've been pretty ugly. Let's take a quick break. Let's move on to a little topic that's near and dear to, I think, all four of our hearts. Our beer selection tonight.
Oh.
Well, dude, I'm gonna show mine real quick because I'm gonna get another. I'm not one of these, so I got something else. So I'll be back in just a moment.
Okay. Dave, what are you having tonight?
Well, I started out with I got some fresh beers from Treehouse.
Nice.
Rice lager, which was pretty tasty. And then I need some dessert and some fruit and vitamins. So got it's blueberry cheesecake slang du jour from Drecker Brewing, which is in Fargo, North Dakota.
I've had Drecker stuff.
Yeah, I was. The lady friend and I did a road trip this summer through the Dakotas, and we actually Drecker has a hotel at the brewery, and we stayed in it, which was
cool.
Really good time. And
what is the brewery like? Is it cool, like cool vibe kind of place, or just I know they have good beer?
So you walk in, it's called Brewhalla, so it was pretty rad, and you check in at a bar, and then it's like. I'd say it's more like if you go to Reading, it's a smaller scale of like a market where there's shops and restaurants and food stuff and all that, like in a main space. The rooms are upstairs, but then if you go past the main like shopping part in the market, it's the brewery itself and like more taps and things like that, where there's more places for people to sit. They've got some pinball, and it was a really, really fun experience, and really had a good time there. I mean, the beers were a lot of fun. So
I haven't had them in a while. They distribute to my the beer distributor by
sure.
I used to get them. They're expensive.
I mean,
beer. They all are, but they're a little more expensive than.
Yeah, they do a lot of smoothie sours and fruited stuff. Ones with the fruit puree. You got to roll the can and all that kind of jazz before you pour it, but. They do a really nice job. They're definitely one in that sort of vein that you're not going to have to worry about the cans re-fermenting in your fridge or somewhere else and blowing up. So they're a pretty safe bet. They're definitely one that I, when I find them and something new, I usually try and pick something up.
Chris, what are you having?
Pep talk.
Originally,
I like a good lager beer.
Sure.
I like beer that tastes like beer.
Tastes like beer?
Yeah, it's like a good cold beer. I've been kind of off of an IPA kick, because there's not a whole lot of good IPA selection in the Middle Tennessee area, in my opinion. So I'm still going back to Georgia beers if when I can get them. It's my main go-to.
Yeah. You know me, I'm consistently on the hazy IPAs, and I got another one here. I started off with the other half, broccoli. Now I'm on this Weldworks in Colorado and Pint House in Texas collab.
Pint House makes some really good beers. I mean, I work in the business. Worked for a large craft brewery for a while. I actually work for a big cider company now on the craft side. But one of my best buddies is out in Colorado, so all the Weldwork stuff they've definitely started distributing. But I had a couple beers from Pint House that are really good too.
Yeah, this is the first time I've had anything Pint House, and it's probably just because it's the collab with Weldworks. We get Weldworks here all the time, like the Juicy Bits and all those ones. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, they've amped up. Then some of those could be they could be contract brewed, the Juicy Bits or extra Juicy Bits, because that's so popular, and they've been able to open up other states that you get either a weekly or bi-weekly drop. Sometimes it's quarterly for some things, but it's nice to see that some of those beers that used to be those breweries that were a little bit more difficult to locate and get their beer, that you're seeing those out and about and around.
Mm-hmm. This is from I think this is David actually. I wouldn't expect there to be a huge craft beer scene in Vietnam, but maybe there is.
Oh man, I've got a buddy who lives in Ho Chi Minh City, and I see him drinking craft beer and some random stuff. So that's
okay.
Yeah,
nice.
But I see John's always posting on social media at the Hawaii, and I always enjoy your pictures. And they all have seemingly like local ingredients. You're always posting, which is cool. Like,
Lanikai is good about that, and that's so. My dad has dementia, and he's a care home in Kailua, which is maybe half hour from here. And usually, after I go see him, typically Wednesdays, I will go into one of the two craft places in Kailua, which is Lanikai Brewing, or Maui Brewing has a restaurant in Kailua. That's where I'll be having dinner later this evening.
Yeah, we're all getting ready to go to bed, and you're like, so I know, like, we're always we never really mention it, but like, and I think like me, Chris, and David have done some kind of bar brewery crawls. Me, Chris, and John have gone out to breweries.
Absolutely.
We've
got an underlying theme here.
We enjoy.
We get thirsty.
Yes. It's tough to put in a whole shift drinking these double hazy IPAs.
Oh no!
I will say, but you gotta be smart. And when I'm home, I'm better. Like I can really nurse these and take an hour to 90 minutes to drink like a pint. But when you're out with you guys, like it's just like they just go down too quick, and then you're on your ass. Like I was in Cleveland, where I don't even remember. Like
you're on the clock then. Like
you got a 6-hour block.
Yeah, and that's like Jason when we went to Cleveland, and I was like, it's like we went. What'd you like at Platform? Like I don't think we went to Platform. He's like, I got a shirt there. And I have no recollection whatsoever of going to Platform.
Yeah, that last Failey I went to, I think the last few beers I was chewing, not drinking.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
But speaking of Failies, hopefully, so we got 2 coming up, and we're going to try to push it a little bit. And that was Mick's suggestion last week, because I was trying to push Mick from Kansas City to come out, because I totally want to meet Mick and have some beers with him. But to kind of give a little publicity. So first in February, I think they're like February 5th through the 8th.
8th or 9th, yeah.
Yeah, we got the Plow Boys, the original Philly, which is, I think, first time I met Chris was 2014. 2014. So definitely looking forward to that one. And then they got another little poster there. They do some good graphics. And then the other one I'm very excited to go to, because I've never been to Detroit, and we've had Sean Kelly on here from Detroit a couple times, and they are having their 5th year anniversary this year. running the club, and I think they've done just a fucking phenomenal job in getting their club up and running, and like just real grassroots and growing it, like with going to bringing in guys from Detroit City FC games, and just a very young and diverse, energetic crowd that they have. So they're going to do their 5th year celebration. They just announced it today, April 10th through the 12th, which is right around my birthday. So that's how I'm going to sell it to my wife in taking a weekend trip. And I think she's on board with it already. She might actually want to come out with me. So definitely looking forward to that one. How about Chris? Which ones are you going to possibly, maybe not?
I'm hoping to go to both.
Both, nice.
We'll see what happens, but that's the plan as of now is to be at Philly and Detroit.
Awesome. How about you, Dave?
Hotel already sorted out for Philly. Plane ticket will be purchased probably January 1 or 2. So I got rooms for Jason and Bobby, and then my good buddy Ryan, who's out in Denver, for the 4 of us to come. I know some of the other folks at the club are talking about Philly as well. But with Detroit being close, and I mean, as you said, like just quality people, like what they've done with that club is awesome. I'm definitely going to try and swing that because that's close enough for me to drive up and collect. They've got that's a cool spot. So I did look a little bit at, some of the things they have planned so far. It looks like it'll be a fun time. And I'm thinking I'm going to be able to do both of them with all the travel nonsense that I do have for work and that. I definitely think I can fit it in.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to go to collect. One, it's a beer bar, like you said. I think they do have craft beer. They have the like basketball hoop like in the middle of the bar, and I'm like, I said I will take anybody on since I have my Twitter handle is I'm the best 3-point shooter on Celtic Twitter, and I'll buy people beers if anybody who can beat me. But
hopefully nobody's gonna hurt their hamstring like with everything that's going on with the club. Like don't pull a hammy or something.
So I'll do that for I'll tell Sean. I'll do a little charity thing. If anybody can beat me, I'll throw some money somewhere. John, you gonna be able to make it out? I know you were saying before you might.
Yeah, right now, no. If I could only make one, it'd probably be Detroit, just because I haven't been there.
Nice.
So like get to see the city. But we'll see. I actually am going to DC next month. My daughter lives there. It's her birthday, and I'm gonna be there for her birthday and Christmas. And then after that, I'm praying to God that she has a job finally after 8 months, and this retired man's limited income will be all his own again. So we shall see.
You can make it. That'll be sweet though.
But yeah, man, I've been in Philly I think 3 or 4 times. Well, and I took my dad the first time I went. Had a blast, absolute blast, and I had a great time in Pittsburgh last year. So I would love to go, and just you meet new friends, you see old friends, support the club, and everybody. You guys in Philly, the folks in Pittsburgh last year done such a terrific job of putting it on.
Absolutely.
And
I say it every time, like whenever we talk about it, it's like my favorite weekend of the year, and any of these weekends, like that, like the times where me and Chris, when we went to Cleveland with Bobby and Jason, or when me and you went to Boston and hung out with David all weekend, and all the Phillies, Pittsburgh, and the ones in Philly, which is my kind of hometown, still in like an hour outside of the city, so it's a hike for me to get down there. So it is kind of a little bit of a trip, but that's easy, and I'll do that every time. So, but you're right, it's John. It's just seeing old friends and making new ones, and it just gets better and better every year. So I can't wait. I guess last thing to talk about, Celtic back this weekend, which it's always, and like I said at the beginning, I guess if you want, we guys like. Do you guys have any interest in the international stuff? I have gotten away from it a lot. It's the thing that got me into Celtic, because I was like a diehard Ireland going to watch World Cup and World Cup qualifiers, and that's how I kind of discovered Celtic. But I mean, honestly, I haven't really watched an Ireland match in 5-6 years, something like that. Like, and I've totally gotten away from it. I've watched Scotland a few times here and there, and I didn't watch either of those games. The Ireland beating Hungary and the Scotland game yesterday, but just the highlights and the, just the scenes after are just was. I'm watching YouTube videos all day on my TV. My wife's like, "Are you still watching this stuff? Like, do you get bored of it?" I'm like, no, I could watch this all day. Like, I mean, Chris, are you in? Did you get into it at all? No, not at all.
I'm super happy Ireland made it. I'm super happy that Scotland made it, but
Mhm.
I didn't watch it. I don't know.
No.
I don't watch any international stuff.
Yeah.
It's boring to me.
How about you, Dave?
I have paid attention to Ireland and Scotland. I mean, I think the Irish lads are pretty happy that Scalesy was on the pitch near the end to help out to get a pair of that hat trick and the win. And the Scottish stuff, I was able to catch. I think it was 2-2, and was able to watch the match from there, and just to see Hampden. And I mean, you get chills in the beginning, when you look back and you see Flower, you listen to the whole stadium singing the national anthem. That's that to me was pretty moving. But just to watch, KT didn't have the best match. I think he sort of was at fault for that second goal, or played a little role in that to get it level. So to see him come back and just put a screamer on, and then to watch that one just sail in for 4. I mean, that's great to see. U.S. been kind of disappointed in them. I just don't know what that's gonna hold in the summertime, and it kind of scares me because that's just been kind of a shit show for far too long. But we'll see, I guess.
It'll be fun to have the Scots in the U.S. and maybe Ireland if they get out of the playoffs. I mean, that'll be amazing, and hopefully they're somewhere on the East Coast and get to hang out with some of those guys, because I'm sure some of them will come over and for the games.
Seeing Eddie Cantwell said he's already booked flights.
Yeah.
So.
And I see people on Facebook that some of the Scottish guys living over here, like anybody comes over, you can stay with me. Like, so we'll probably have a full house and all the guys over here, which is awesome. Are you into it at all, John?
Yeah. This week was incredible considering how boring international football usually is. And in the space of a few days, you had Ireland pull one out and Scotland manage it, and then the U.S. thumped Uruguay, and Trusty started.
Yeah.
So
he did. That's what Dr. J just posted. Trusty looked good last night, and I didn't see it. Like I kind of was getting a little updates from some people. Some of my friends are into the U.S. team, so but that's another one I don't really. I probably 8-10 years ago was a diehard, and would have loved to watch them in the World Cup, but I just can't get into it anymore. And like Dave said, I don't know, who knows how it's going to go over here.
I looked 5 months ago. 5 months ago, I was in Henderson in Mojave Brewing. I was in Vegas for the convention and watched U.S. Switzerland, and Switzerland steamrolled the U.S. And I thought, oh, this is not good. Maybe Pochettino was a bad decision. Seems like he's maybe turned things around.
Yeah, maybe it just takes time to get him up and rolling.
Yeah. Again, the corrupt FIFA will probably get the U.S. a decent group and good chance of getting through the knockout stage, and then hopefully they'll make a run.
Yeah, we'll have all the games moved to Nebraska and South Dakota. And nobody will get
a silo or something, and some in a field.
Well, I don't think it gets snow in Colorado in June, but.
Hey, look, Gab checking in from the Solomons. He was watching us. All right, so, and then I guess last thing I want to talk about, and like we said, Celtic back this weekend. They play Saturday, St. Mirren. late kickoff, right? Like 3 p.m. Is it?
Yeah, in the
For
East.
East Coast, yeah. Which is, I don't know what's up with that. But I don't know what I'm in the town, that just throws off my entire day because I'm whatever I'm used to, like that, morning game. Even when it's like 10 a.m., it throws me off. Almost rather the 7 a.m. just get it done early. But I guess what are you expecting this week? I mean, with all the internationals, Trusty actually playing with the U.S. Does it make Martin give some of those guys a break when they come back? Chris, how do you see the lineup, I guess, this weekend? I guess it's kind of unknown.
Yeah, I think it's just a big question mark that, we'll see how it plays out, who comes back, who's fit, who's ready, who needs, a little bit of recovery time still. I wouldn't imagine guys in May coming back and starting, but I mean, other than that, I think we can still run a team out and win 2-0. I mean, that's just how I'm looking at it now. Is that I think that there's a core of our players that know that they're going to be playing on Saturday, whether anybody comes out and says it or not. That McGregor's going to start and whatever. So I feel like I'll be back kind of business, but for me personally, it will be Nashville Celtic.
Oh yeah, I did want to mention that too.
Yeah, we're getting together, kind of the first run of the Nashville Celtic supporters clubs at the Lost Patty at 2:00 there in Nashville. So looking forward to meeting those guys and kind of getting everybody's opinion and their Celtic story and and getting that off the ground. So kind of excited about that.
We'll definitely need a report on that next week, and then we'll try to get those guys on too to discuss.
I'll see what I can do.
Good. I know booking guests is always fun. Dave, how do you see the weekend, Saturday?
I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, it is going to be a crapshoot depending upon who was playing in international matches. I mean, like I know there's did I see the winger? I can't ever pronounce the Tunisian guy that he didn't play, or there was an injury or something like that. I didn't see injury. I mean, I would hope that he would play. I'd really like to see Balakwisha do something productive on the pitch at some point in time. I mean, like, I think that as I've said, to the squad in Columbus, it's like Carl Hungus log jamming, and in the midfield, there's just so many people, and there's not enough positions for them. So I mean, have we really seen Bernardo this season? I mean,
no.
It's just I'd like to see some of these guys get a run, and there's just so many injuries that maybe they'll be pulling somebody else from the academy up for right back, or we'll see. I mean, let's hope that we're fully rested. I see a 3-1 Celtic, just because I don't feel confident about clean sheets for us, unfortunately. But definitely we need to. Hopefully there'll be some good news after the AGM, or we'll sort of get something sorted out with who's running the show and captaining the boat soon. But I think that would bode well for us to get a nice win to get back after the international break.
Yeah, agreed. I did see, speaking of right back, I did see Colby Donovan, I think, got a little ankle injury.
Yeah, I think he went back early, right?
But Ralston didn't play on Sunday or yesterday, whatever, Tuesday, I don't think. So I'm guessing he would be good to go. But John, how do you see, I guess, Saturday? Score-wise, lineup, any guys you want to see?
Well, obviously Ralston's going to start because we don't have anybody else. And Johnson's still hurt, and that the young lad came back from the under-21 camp. So I'm just hoping not to spend the last 10 minutes stressing over a 1-goal lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We tend to do that. So
That's the best way to say it.
Something that's been in my head the last few days, and since I get a chance to talk Celtic with somebody, and Sean, because I know your background a little bit more than the other guys. I mean, like when I was a kid, dreamed of like playing center field for the Dodgers. Then when I realized I was too fucking slow playing third base and hitting a home run in the bottom of the ninth, or for you maybe hit a 3-pointer for the Sixers. There's things you dreamed of, and as a kid also dreamt of playing for Celtic. But do you ever dream of being Ralston? Any kids sitting there going, I'd just like to be just good enough to keep a spot in the team. And I gotta believe he's stressing every summer about whether or not he's still gonna be there. Because now, God bless me, got picked for Scotland on a regular basis now, but he's just, I see him with the team show going, oh, fuck me. They're just, here we go. And I love the effort, the intensity. But I mean, remember that game when he's getting into it with, was it Neymar? Yeah. And says, you're getting embarrassed. Just shut up and get on with it. So, like I said, I'm sitting here right now knowing he's going to start already fills me with a little bit of fear. And I'm back to, what did we do this summer? What's going to happen in January? Callum McGregor, great servant for Celtic, but for 5 or 6 years, he played more minutes, or in the top 5 in Europe. And that has got to have killed his legs at this point. I mean, 32, 33.
I agree with you, John. I've been saying that for a while, that like he got run into the ground. Yeah. And like he did everything he possibly could for the badge and the club and the team. And it's when does that sort of when is a transition to someone else, to an understudy, whether it's whoever it could be.
Yeah, I agree. Here's a good I would take this 5-0.
There you go.
Well, because I'm hopeful, like maybe we be a little adventurous and maybe put Nygren at a wing, so they can. I hope we get the good Hatate, not the indifferent give the ball away Hatate.
Yeah, he's been a little better lately, I feel like, but he's really started poorly to start the season.
And he's another one that it's spectacular or it's terrible, right? Also only 27. I know he feels older, doesn't he?
That's Tierney too. Like,
I think people. Well, I think and
right
same thing. Like what David said. I mean, I think we ran him into the ground before he went to Arsenal.
Yeah. And that's how you feel right now watching him. He does look like he's I feel like he's started off the first few games looking like kind of the old Tierney, but then like he was just like running with 10-pound weight shoes on. And
you watch sometimes when he's tracking back, chasing people, like, oh dear.
Yeah, but good goal in his last game for us. Good goal in yesterday in Scotland, in the Scotland uniform. So hopefully that kind of builds on that.
So I'm out of curiosity, you guys, just your way in. Who are you starting at the 9 in the middle? And Johnny Kenny?
Like you said, probably Johnny Kenny.
I mean, I guess not really choice unless it's was it Yamada? Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think our best option in that position is Dyson. But maybe not Dyson coming back. Did he play for Japan? I didn't
look, but see, he makes more sense to me when you're playing like Europa, or maybe version 2.0 at Ibrox. Where you're going to say, okay, the last 15 or 20. But then anytime we're playing them and Taverniers playing right back, I want Maeda playing left wing. You can visibly see.
He'll skin him all day long.
Visibly see Tavernier shitting himself.
I know, but you're not going to see that because they seemingly want Tenacti over there pretty consistently now. So I don't like Dyson as much on the right wing, but I think he maybe once he gets a chance to play that position, if he does to the end of the season, maybe he gets better at it. And I don't
Sean
think
and I had a conversation about this a few years ago where I had theorized that he's really just Ollie Burke with a better work rate.
But then he had that goal, like,
and then, not long
week.
after I said it, he had a terrific move and scored. And so I whispered to Sean, "Never been happier to be wrong." But
there you go.
Yeah,
That's what we need. Everybody to come in the comments to give us the information we need. Yeah. So I don't know. Score prediction for me, I would say I kind of agree with Chris. Like probably 2-0. I do think we can get the clean sheet against them. Some of their big, they always have like big, strong forwards that give our guys hard times. But I do think Scales is kind of. I'm not the biggest Scales fan. As I think a lot of people love him. I guess take it back that I'm not the biggest Scales fan, but I do probably think he's been our player of the year this season. For me, and maybe that's just by default, like because I don't think a lot of guys have had a very strong season so far. So I don't know. 2-0, I think, is what I would go with. And I'm excited for 3 p.m. kickoff. I guess I'll try to figure out maybe if I can get down to the plow like I did, make it 2 in a row.
It's a very civilized 10 in the morning here.
You're like us, man.
You'll be fully rested.
But I'll weigh in with 2-1 prediction since everybody else did pick a score. Yeah, and my usual final 10 minutes of puckering.
Yeah, I hate those games, and we do that too much.
Maybe a James Forrest goal late.
there you go.
We still do need a James Forrest goal this season to keep that streak going. So, all right, so I think we'll wrap it up there. We've gone well over an hour, so it was good having you guys on. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. For sure, it's awesome.
Try to do it again soon.
Come back.
Yeah, it's always fun, and this is my one of my favorite hour or so of the week. So love getting to talk Celtic.
Likewise.
So thanks for coming on. If you guys want to stick around after, I didn't mention it beforehand, we do a little post-game rehab in the backstage. So
okay.
But we'll go out with I'm going to play the Where's the Ambition clip from Gav. So it's a little long, but that's all right. So hail, guys. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week. And we don't have guests yet, so we got to figure that out. Maybe Chris will be talking to the Nashville guys, and we'll see. Maybe they'll get them on next week.
Maybe you get Wilfried Nancy on. I'll make it.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll make that happen. All right. Hail. Thanks, guys.
Hail, boy.
Aloha.
Cheers.
Instead of this settling for mediocre, imagine what we could be.